So the recap. Last week, 2 weeks ago, your group spent some time above and below the ground. So failing to make significant headway into helping Ward see the truth and become enlightened to his real situation as an NPC that had been reused essentially over and over again by a revolving cast of AIs. Jake spent an obscenely large sum of money hiring Mish as Ward's babysitter, with a few caveats that that the system imposed if certain events were to trigger. With the Ward situation temporarily handled, your group headed back underground via Glimmer's shop, re-entered the Knoll Hole. Strangely, the muddy, swampy water that you'd previously had some dangerous experiences in, and some near non-reproductive events for Phocionis, you found that sense of danger that you had was no longer present, in that the GM was not asking you to do any more D6 rolls. Reunited with a very excited Ferret Drake, you headed back into the tunnels, with Zach in particular picking up the location and presence of the trap triggers, and Jake heading in to disarm the traps, or at least attempt to. This had some mixed results, from multiple bundles of dynamite ending up in Jake's hands and pocket, to some disarming missteps leading to a tunnel collapse, both partial and full, and the emergence of a giant badger wizard who missed a tripwire that Wizard Zach may not have missed. So where we find ourselves is with your whole party on the Jake side of the rubble. Jake, when we finished off, was wrapped around the tail of the giant badger wizard, chanting badger, 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 which I now understand after seeing the YouTube video. Vocionis carrying Alia on his back, a ferret around his feet, and a huge dog on his heels. And you've all managed to make your way through and emerged from the the large explosion that Jake caused from a rather poor attempt at disarming a trap. And I've even brought a giant badger token in to represent Zach as well. So where you guys currently sit is the last place you investigated was, oh shit, I didn't write it down. I believe it was the Dragonfire Smithy. And your next part that you were heading towards, yes, the next part you were heading towards was the Griffin's Rest Inn. So what do you want to do now?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for my map to load still. Sorry. Hey, there it is. I'm kidding.
So what just happened after I set off that last explosion? Sorry, that was active. That
the last one that you'd set off, as we left off, you were all past the explosion, and you ended up with a full collapse behind you. So you tunneled under one full collapse, and you've got now a second one as you step forward, but you were all far enough through, unless someone stayed back that I wasn't aware of. You were all grouped up to the point that you managed to avoid the explosion, but both sides were set off.
Right. So, which are we on opposite sides of the rock fall from Jake, or no?
You got on the same side as Jake.
Right.
Your party had pushed through far enough, and the badger with Jake on its tail had set off a second explosion, which has basically doubled down the rubble that you just burrowed through. But it has essentially undone your hard work of the burrowing badger.
I see. We burrowed
that
through.
Didn't see the tripwire.
Burrowing was filled in.
Yeah, to paint a bit more of a clearer picture. So you've had all of these sections where there was these distinct, almost like there was a very clear pattern of the gaps in between the traps and where they were being set off after each of the tunnels you exited. This one actually had two in quite close proximity, essentially to do a double collapse. And you've disarming traps set off the first one, and the second one, the badger and entourage were just far enough forward not to get hit in that explosion. but
Okay,
your way behind is currently sealed. The
guess
same way as it was the first time when the badger dug through.
I guess yeah, the badger will go back and sort of open up a way through so he can get back.
Yep,
I think
and
that
we established that's a matter of work of moments. Just take note, you are dragging Jake through, who, as far as Moya has not let
Won't
go,
let go.
so is bouncing along behind, getting flicked up with rubble as you just burrow through the the debris behind you.
Fuzzy little badger.
It's a very big badger.
Way to cuddle.
So you've now got a double length tunnel. I'll give you with your badger's skill level with burrowing. This is not even an effort. Like, it is a matter of moments.
Right. Yes. Cool. I guess he'll turn back into Zach. I guess I end concentration on the polymorph spell.
Oh,
So, sorry. Yeah, we need to keep an eye out for those explosives. I think my eyes are better as Zachary. Sorry.
And you still have Jake wrapped
Sorry,
around your
Jake.
waist at this point as you turn back to Zachary.
Go back to the badger. You know you want to accept the badger.
You have a raccoon? Isn't that enough?
yeah, but once you go badger, you never go back.
Once you go badger, you accept no other tadger.
Jeez.
I was trying to find a rhyme. Actually, I've already got Zach here. He's just invisible. Hang on, he was under the badger. There we go.
Oh, but
So where you can see there is an offshoot to the right. Sorry, to the left coming up, similar to what you saw with the Griffin's Wrath smithy, except this time around the tunnel shoots off to the left, and the hole that's been carved appears a little bit larger than the previous ones, only slightly, but you've seen enough of these now that you can see that for some reason this is a bit larger, and your map indicates that this is underneath the Griffin's Rest Inn.
all right. Well,
Oh,
I feel like we've explored every other side.
One of these dumbasses is
Tunnel?
gonna get hurt.
Nah, it's
Are you
fine.
talking about your party or your cats? 'Cause
Well, you know,
No, these
doesn't
two
matter, either
on the
or.
cat tower.
My bet's on the black one falling backwards.
ooh, but it'll take the
Yeah.
white one with it.
Oh no, the white one
Yeah.
lost. The white one lost the high ground. And now
It's like the end of the Sherlock Holmes film with RDJ, like, you know, does the calculations, and you know, I'm just saying.
yeah.
There we go.
oh.
So Zach, did you say you were heading into the tunnel?
Yeah,
Sorry, did somebody say that?
we look at
We must
we
investigate,
search the offshoot as usual.
but quietly if we can.
Quite.
We
Okay.
are searching the offshoot.
I'll ask again. Are you attempting to be stealthy, or are you just being careful and a bit slow with your
Simba.
movements?
Careful and a bit slow for me because stealthy doesn't work for the big fock.
Yeah, we just is carefully like looking for traps.
I don't think I can be stealthy while I'm
maybe, yeah.
holding onto Zach's waist.
You still are around his waist.
Am I not like carrying literally the rest of the party? So you know,
You literally have Ali on your back, the Drake sort of, to follow the rules, not being strictly between your feet, but kind of circling around your feet. And Brutus is just off to your side. And unless something has changed there, yep, you
No,
drag
no.
them all through the tunnel.
carefully.
And Alia is still in the darkness because you guys doused your lights.
Just going
And
careful
Jake
and
is doing
cautious as opposed to
the
stealth.
in darkness. Okay, so you find that the tunnel is not trapped. You do notice that the two of you in front, Zach and Jake, you notice before anyone else that the floor of the tunnel appears to be a little bit muddier than what the others were. The others were actually quite dry and hard packed. This
Ale.
appears to be just a little bit muddier from your passives and what you pick up. So as you are going down that tunnel and you get to the end of it, can I get all of you just
Oh,
to see what you pick up on at the end? Because it's a little bit different to what you've experienced previously. And
through
the tunnel
investigation.
ends, it's in darkness, it's a bit monochrome, but I just want to see how much detail you guys pick up. So can I get each of you to do a investigation or perception roll? And Alia, you're still in darkness, so
Perception.
yours is going to be with disadvantage unless someone gives you some light. Do it wherever you like, just give me a number.
Was it
nat one.
investigation?
Or perception.
Investigation with disadvantage.
So
Why did it roll 2?
probably because you rolled a 1 and got your halfling luck, would be my guess. Oh no, disadvantage. It rolled 2 and gave you the lowest.
I rolled a natural one
Oh.
as well.
You rolled what?
Jake,
Nat one.
did you say you rolled a 1?
Yeah, I got a
also?
natural 1 for 6.
What? Yeah, still a natural 1. Yeah, and what did you get, Dante?
Oh, I got 5. So I'm feeling a whole lot
wow.
better about my amazing 5.
I
Wow.
got a natural one at 8.
So
Plus 7.
still, look, Jake, you are still where your head is positioned. All you're really getting a good view of is Zachary's well-toned buttocks. Inside the lining of his just even still in this situation, you notice just how immaculately pressed those tuxedo pants are that he's wearing. And that's about all you've got in your field of vision at the moment. Zachary, you're somewhat distracted by Jake, who is still hanging around
Yeah, he is.
your waist. and you definitely feel his eyes upon you. Ali, what was your two? You're kind of just staring around in pitch black darkness, and just
Like let's big butts and get
with your 5, I will give you that as all this is happening, Fokionis, it takes you a little bit of time, and you kind of like having just had.
Wait, I actually noticed
tunnel-
something with 5 as a roll.
Yep.
Fuck.
It
Okay.
takes a while though. It takes a while because you've just had a double explosion. You're very hesitant. It takes you guys longer than it normally would to just carefully navigate your way down this tunnel. But what you do notice, Fokionis, and it's Brutus who brings it to your attention a little bit, is he's lapping at the ground, and you notice that there's actually a surface on it, a liquid, and you're standing on a hard surface as opposed to a muddy surface. And finally, it dawns on you. Everyone's just sort of a little bit lost and still dealing with their own PTSD, or whether that's from the tunnel collapse or just the badger disappearing. That you are actually standing around ankle deep in beer at the moment, and you appear to be actually standing on the inside of a giant beer keg. It takes you a little bit to notice this because it took you a while to get here, and with your rolls, it's certainly not. You don't pick up quickly what's going on here, but you appear to be in a mostly empty beer keg, and you can definitely see the end, which is much larger than the other tunnels. But you can see the circular end of the other end of the beer keg that appears to have been hollowed out, but still in place.
Right. Okay. So
Bob's getting drunk.
well, fuck. Depends how much is in. No. Yeah. So
It's a
okay,
giant beer keg that you're all standing comfortably
inside
in.
of.
So it's
So
a
fuck will
large
notice this. Obviously, is what you're saying. So
You've noticed you're in a beer keg. You haven't actually picked up on a great deal of details other than you're ankle deep in
Hops.
beer. You're inside a beer
Barley,
keg,
maybe
and
some
one
meat.
end of it is still sealed.
You know what? Bends down, scoops up. Pilsner. Well, fucking hell. We're standing in beer, bro. Quick, everyone, come over here. Have a look. What are we inside of? It's not a guy. He's a keg. We're standing inside of a keg. Come on.
I thought we were in a shaft.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, but at the end of this shaft is a keg.
Keg. Alright.
So look, the beer.
Oh.
You want some?
And
Hands down
you-
again.
Oh god,
Mm.
he's drinking floor beer.
Could be worse.
That's when you know you have a drinking problem.
I resemble that comment.
You don't care where it comes from, it's just there.
He's free.
Oh my god.
Look, if it's a keg, that means it was sterile sort of at some point.
That's the alcohol kills the germs, right?
Exactly. See, bro, you with me? Have a drink. And he bends over and grabs Zach and like pushes his head in the water and goes.
Made him motorboat
Oh
beer.
god, no! That's like, what are you doing?
Let's go.
So with this now being brought to your party's attention, even your passives aren't great with this, but you do pick up enough as a group, apart from Alia, who can just smell and hear beer being splashed around from all angles. You do notice that the keg itself with the monochrome that you're viewing it in, and you can see the sheen of the beer underneath your feet. That you appear to be in a beer keg that looks to be some sort of it looks like slats. So like
It looks
an
like
old
for an
fashioned
Australian
kind of
opening Test
beer
match with Michael
slash
Slater.
yeah, that's exactly
All right,
what
okay,
it
cool.
is.
Just
Yeah.
checking.
Yeah. So they're all Grey Nicholas slats. Yeah. They're like a combination of old fashioned beer kegs and also wine barrels to give you some familiarity. Very large. The thing itself, you walked on timber underneath your feet. You eventually realize for around 15 or 20 feet from where you left the dirt behind. So it is a substantial size keg, and it is around 10 to maybe 12 feet in diameter. So the height, if you look above, there's a significant difference between the top of Phocyonis's head to the top of the keg, and you can clearly see the other end of the keg that has not been removed, because obviously one end is gone because you've gone into the keg itself, and you can see that there is what appears to be a tap, the back end of a tap just below the level of the beer that you're currently standing in.
So, question above the table: when we walked in, was there a change in level, or is it on a gradient of some description? How is there ankle deep beer in a keg if we walked in at the same level as the ground?
Mate, you can definitely investigate that further, but with a 5, you definitely did not pick up on a change in gradient. It took you long enough to realize that you're
Look.
walking in beer.
With a 5, I could have at least stumbled
But-
over the supposed step down and fallen face
Now
first
that you've
into
made
it.
that discovery, if you would like to investigate any part of this more closely,
I would like to.
you
Can
certainly can.
Geez, I'm probably better off with passive, buddy. But
Well, if you're looking specifically like around the angle and how that has happened, that's going to be an investigation check,
all right, let's investigate.
because you're sussing out why and how
Minus
that
1
situation is
investigation. Come
eventuated.
on, good roll. No, it's another 5, which is in this case 4. So I don't know. Fucking shit.
But mate, as best you can tell, it's a beer keg, and beer
Beer
stays
in the keg.
and beer goes out of the tap in the keg. So I mean, that's just how beer works.
Ah,
Zach,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
beer. That's about all I got. Really.
I can see it's like all over my face.
Well, you want some more?
No.
Okay.
Can Jake let go of Zach and just not
Oh,
stop
wait,
himself
so I'm
from
not done.
face planting into it?
And what? Sorry, Lily, I missed the last part.
But just face plant into the beer. Just give up. Just give in. Just fall.
So
Accept
just let
gravity.
go.
I'm pretty sure Aaliyah went in as soon as Fox bent over to take a drink.
just in the dark, just in, and so Jake, you've landed next to Alia. You clearly can see her next to you. Alia, you can't see Jake; it's pitch black, but you can
I'm
you
just
can definitely
confused.
hear Jake land. Or at this point, you don't know it's Jake, but a figure has landed in the beer next to you with a hearty splash. So ankle deep, yeah, it's covering you partially. You more so than Jake, Alia, but get into it.
Notes of woody texture.
Zachary, is there anything you'd like to do in this different kind of spot that you guys have found yourselves in here?
No. Like, I guess, like if there used to be more beer in here, it would have like gone out into the tunnel, wouldn't it? So, I guess I don't know, but like, there's no way out of here except through the tap, right? But it doesn't look like at first glance. Anyway.
Yep. Why don't you, if you would like to investigate that further, that's a great question that Zach could definitely, with his dark vision, have a poke around and try and
Sure, I'll
suss out.
investigation that. Oh, really? Want to buy something more than
Oh, it ended up.
5.
What was the plus? Oh, you got a lot of bonuses. No, okay.
So I got 11 total, but I rolled
Yeah.
a 4.
Yeah, the 4 is what I saw come up and just went, oh man, what can I tell you here? But now with an 11. So Zach, what you do notice is that the keg, whatever is holding it in place, it does appear to be tilted slightly so that the beer at the tap end is pooling there more so than it is in the rear of the keg. And you also notice that there are 2 really roughly attached hinges on the right hand side and some sort of, not exactly sure how it works, but some sort of latching mechanism that has been put in place on the left hand side. So the end of this beer keg itself appears to have been hinged, but the beer is still pooling over the tap, presumably still pouring beer out of that keg. Funky taste in beer at the moment.
So it's openable, you reckon?
With your 11, you've noticed those elements that are there, and it certainly looks like it has been set up to be able to be opened. Yes.
Okay,
I'll give you with the 11. The hinges are done in such a way that it would swing outwards. You can see that with the way they've been put in place.
give it a go, I guess. I open it. Or I try to open the latch. I guess.
I don't even need you to roll for that. And luckily for you, it's not trapped. It is a really simple, when you get up close and have a look, it is a very simple bolt mechanism. It's really just designed so that the thing stays shut. So you, in attempting to open it, you just slide the bolt back. And as soon as you do, the weight of the beer pushes the door straight open. And you and the rest of your group are sliding out on that beer onto the floor.
Be a slide.
And where you find yourselves, as you either get up or don't, because I know Jake started down there with Alia, so you guys, well, could still be there. It's a much better lit environment than where you're in before. There's covered lanterns, oil lanterns around the room. Oh my God, that's a funny. And there's a reason I don't have this screen up. Hey. And looking around you, you're at the rear part, certainly not in a central area, but in one of what appears to be many rows of just racks and racks and racks of these giant kegs of beer. It appears like you are in some sort of storage space for the Griffin's Rest Inn. There are easily hundreds of beer kegs, both tapped and untapped, around you from floor to almost ceiling. What
Like the
appears to
same,
be
the
kegs.
same size as the one we came out of, or smaller kegs?
Same size and smaller. So there's a whole
A
range
variety.
of different different kegs, with the larger ones being at the bottom, and it does get smaller and tapered. And some stacks are medium sized all the way up, some are small, but where there are the large kegs, they are at the bottom. And some don't have taps on them, some are still sealed, still corked.
Can
and
I,
then tapped.
or can we as the group investigate? Obviously, the Knolls have drilled into that first keg. Hilariously, they must have been doused in beer when they did so. But they haven't seemed like. Can we see? Have they, progressed beyond there, or did they just leg it and then met an unfortunate end at the hands of a lovable group of rogues?
Sorry,
So,
what was the
Is
what's the
anyone?
question? 'Cause
Is there any signs that things have been thieved from the area, the
Oh,
cellar,
okay.
if you will, that we're in?
All right. Sorry, that makes more sense, because I was trying to work out the Knolls being drunk and yeah, okay. You can
Gotta confuse
either
a
do
spa 101.
perception or intelligence
Yeah, I've got neither of
to
those.
have a look around, at least in your. Let's start with the it's quite a lengthy row, but the immediate vicinity around where you are, because this is a very large space. So this is hundreds of feet in each direction. It's a massive cellar.
All right, I'm going to roll perception. Because that's only +0 as opposed to -1.
Get your bad rolls. You've got your bad
fuck.
rolls out of the way.
Have I? Unlucky for some.
What'd you roll?
A 13.
A 13. You, did you do perception? You did perception. So,
Yeah.
like casting about, looking for any kind of sign. You find it quite difficult in the immediate vicinity, especially with Alia and Jake still kind of swanning around and trying to make the most of the beer that is now rapidly spreading out over what's more of a cobbled tile than the barrel was, and the beer is rapidly absorbing into that porous surface. But as best you can tell, in that, I'll give you around a 30 or 40 foot vicinity, there doesn't appear to have been any other damage that you can tell with that roll. Or any kind of manipulation, theft, or anything like that. It seems like they, as best you can tell, that they have just created that entry and a mechanism to open and enter and potentially leave. It's latched and hinged as well.
All right, so we're stuck in there now, or no?
Now you've got an open barrel behind you. You've got Jake and Alia, who are about to do some constitution rolls to suss out just how drunk they've gotten. I'm actually going to get them. Can you guys, while I'll come over to Zachary to see what he's looking to do, and you guys can tell me what you want to do other than this. But you have been getting a fair bit of beer into you, so can I just get a constitution, just a straight constitution, do a constitution saving throw? That'll be
Do I
the
really
easiest.
need
It'll
to?
put
I
your
mean, come
bonuses.
on.
No, you don't. You don't.
Okay,
It's
cool.
those two have been laying face first. Alia is not even getting the buzz that she's after, and is currently desperately trying to lick the beer out of the cracks before it escapes to get some sort of kick out of this, especially when Bocchiona said it was an IPA and they normally have a decent punch to them, and she's just not getting
Alcohol, I got nothing on this raccoon.
she's definitely not getting the buzz that she's after. What did you roll, Lily?
19.
What was it? Sorry, 19.
19.
Yeah, you're the same. You're actually at the point that you have grabbed a hold of Alia's tail and you're actively wringing it out with your mouth underneath it, trying to get enough of a buzz to take away some of those demons and put them to rest. But it's just not happening. And can I get you, please, just to roll a normal D20 and let me know what you roll, Lily / Jake?
A natural one.
True one.
Oh,
Again?
Alright.
stop it.
Oh,
You
God.
guys know that if alcohol doesn't work, fire's the next best thing, right?
Nope, nope, nope,
Why?
nope, nope, nope.
Why have we rolled like
You guys are so
5
lucky you're
natural
not in.
ones this session? It hasn't even been an hour.
This needs to be like a charity campaign where it's like a $1 dono, or get someone to like donate $1 per one. It's lucky you're not in combat. Holy shit. That's it. I just needed that roll. Thank you. So yeah, you guys are trying to get drunk on the floor. Before I move to Zachary, would either of you like to do anything other than trying to continue being
I'm gonna try and do a
intoxicated?
starfish.
I'm going to be a whiny little boy and ask Fock for his never-ending skin of alcohol.
You know what? That seems like a good idea.
Fock, please. Coffee or alcohol?
I mean, why not? Let's change it up. Can we change wine for beer?
You've got a jug that will let you do gallons of whatever liquid you would like within certain specifications, and wine and coffee are certainly in there. And you've also got a leather flask that just fills up with wine.
Oh, only wine. Well, it's no good.
Your
It's only
flask,
wine.
your flask is just wine. Your jug is any liquid, including
Yeah,
coffee,
but coffee.
wine, beer, spirits.
But coffee.
Wow, that's a conversation that you guys continue to have. Zachary, and we'll come back to what is happening between Jake and Pokionis. What would you like to do while Alia is doing beer angels in the rapidly drying suds?
I'm just gonna watch them amuse.
Back to
Jesus.
Pokionis and
Oh.
Jake. Sorry,
But coffee.
Jake.
Is it good coffee?
Look, I suppose we could get more coffee later on.
So is
Because
there
when we
like
go
a
back-
normal door out of this place?
You can't see one immediately from where you are, but I mean, especially with your passive intelligence, it's a very fair assumption that this is a beer cellar for an inn. It's quite a large inn. You've walked past it several times. It only makes sense that there will be some way for, beer and whatever else is in here that you haven't explored the full area to be taken upstairs, because it's a cellar. It's very clear it's a cellar with your
Right.
passive intelligence, to be removed from here. You just can't see it. There doesn't. This is quite like a secluded little nook that appears to be one of the walls, possibly even one of the back walls away from that entrance.
Okay. So like we have a decision now. Do we tell the owner of this establishment there's a hole in
Yes,
It's
but
a-
I vote we don't send the raccoon. Maybe you should go, Zach.
or
I
What?
second whatever it is if it's making Zach do something.
or do we just like leave and close the thing up and pretend we were never here?
I feel like
Except for spilled beer
we
everywhere.
could tell them that someone was be thieving their beer, then maybe they might reward us with beer. Discuss.
I don't think they'd appreciate us plundering the keg.
Oh, no. You misunderstood me. Like, I'm not saying we take more beer. I'm saying we tell them
We've
someone
already
else.
taken the whole lot of.
Oh, you can't count what's in my shoe. That's just a shoey, bro.
Just sure.
Just cleanup service. If anything, we should charge them for that. But
Cleanup service.
I had flood at my house. People come out after hours, big bill. This is just the same. Right? I mean,
Don't
Aliyah just
think-
like a big super soaker. We could get Crazy Guy with Bung Eye do ShamWow commercial. Let's call it Raccoon Chow.
Alright.
Wait, you agree to that? All right, so we're telling the barkeeper, are we? Sorry, did I miss Spar you saying that there was a way for us to exit the cellar in an
It's a
upward
big cellar.
trajectory?
We can't see the door, but we can.
I assume there is one.
The exit. Yeah.
It would seem odd that the bartender would have to like traverse a series of tunnels not dug by him to enter his own cellar.
Yeah.
Right, good.
Zach had a look around and with his passive intelligence, just looking at the way things are positioned, extrapolated that this is a cellar in a large pub and it only makes sense that there would be some way to get in and out of it, including getting the product in and out of it.
I mean, really? He had to think about that? Didn't just assume? No, it was just a cave full of piss. Given that Fokionis' history is working in venues with alcohol, etc., I think that he just assumed everyone understood that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So maybe we look like do we do this now, or are we gonna stick a pin to come back and tell him on the way back? Like what are we doing?
Tell him on
Maybe
the way back.
Yeah, on the way back.
On the way back. All right.
Better. Yeah, for now we'll just go back into the keg and close the door. Like open the tap a little bit, make it seem like he just left it on accidentally or something.
I feel like the very big hole that we walked through might be the giveaway.
No, but the door like closes, would close back up there.
Okay. Sure. Good plan. Let's go.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
I got
Zachary,
13, so you know.
can you give me I'll let you choose because it's about how you set this up. So if you're kind of trying to stage something, give me a performance check. Otherwise, give me a sleight of hand check as to how you are setting up the the open tap and making it look this current scene that as you're looking at it currently has a raccoon shaped beer angel and like a Jake shaped extra wet spot where he stayed on the ground trying to wring out Alia's tail. So yeah, up to you, sleight of hand or performance. Just and let me know which we went with and how you rolled.
God,
as you try and set up this scene and get this motley crew back in the beer keg, where about 100 to 200 liters of beer slid out with you onto the floor.
100 to 2. Oh my god.
It's mostly dried up and evaporated now.
Earlier.
Alright, I guess. Yeah, can I use slide on hand to like just make it clean it up, I guess? And
We could just leave a messenger.
Leave it.
Give me your roll and then let's add some flavor to it.
Alright, yeah.
So I know you're doing sleight of hand. Let's see what you roll.
Alright, sleight of hand. Oh wow, that's not good. 6.
Wow. Look, you managed to get Jake and Alia out of the way and kind of at least sitting up against a keg instead of laying flat on the ground and scooping like a bit of the beer that is still kind of dragged just below the lip in the barrel onto the floor to kind of scuff up as best you can the marks and shapes that clearly identify that they had been there. Look, you're pretty confident, a bit distracted by, every now and then having to use a foot or a hand to push them back up where they're starting to lean forward back onto the the brickwork. Even though they're not too drunk, they're just not being super helpful. Maybe they're just a bit annoyed that the beer wasn't stronger. But with
I'm
their
annoyed that we don't have a badger anymore.
and lack of
You
assistance,
badger?
and JP upset that you're not a badger anymore, and probably a little bit upset that the no wine or coffee has been forthcoming from Foccionus.
Oh,
Don't
I
know
have
if I
coffee.
prefer the
You-
dynamite obsessed Jake or the badger obsessed Is.
you're pretty
Do-
confident that you've you've done a pretty good job of making this look like a, and you've just before exiting, you remember to actually turn the tap on as well, to to complete the illusion that you have created.
Alright.
At least you think you did. There's a fair
God
bit
damn
going
it.
on.
Zachary's stage of mystery.
Oh,
Oh god. Alright, well let's go. I think
Off we go.
yeah. We'll go back to the
Right.
main corridor.
all right.
God
And
damn
then
it, you
The
guys.
sharp left turn.
Sharp left turn.
So you're in. You close the latch. It even though the hinges were quite rough, it does slide back closed. The workmanship is definitely functional, if not pretty. And you latch it shut without issue. It has not opening and closing it, despite the spilled beer, has not caused any difficulties there whatsoever. And you've headed back to the tunnel. You've now gotten to essentially the exit of the Griffin's Rest Inn, where the tunnel now takes a turn to the left, for another short section before another curvature around to the left. And Zach, you're now that you've kind of removed yourself a bit from those distractions and you can focus again on the job at hand and the navigation of this tunnel, you see one of those all too familiar pressure pads. It appears to be only one, not like the second one you tripped in your badger form, but that all too familiar pressure pad, about 5 feet from the entrance / exit of the Griffin's Rest tunnel.
Does Jake look like he's in a state to disarm explosives or
Depends if you'll go back to being a badger.
how about I turn him into a badger and gesture to Fog?
That's a big
Badger.
fucking badger.
Mushroom. Give badger.
I don't think I've got the concentration for that.
I'll be concentrating on it. You just be a badger.
Or But no.
Imagine the pets you could get though.
But I don't want. Why don't we just send in the Jake? But to collect, not Boom Boom.
But boom.
Yes, but Boom Boom later. You got to collect more.
That is a good point, actually.
Yeah, come on. You know the fuck makes sense.
It does. He's got such a nice jawline. I would miss that if he was a badger.
I mean, look,
How
I'm
can
not
he be
saying that.
coffee if he's a badger?
Ooh, coffee badger?
Coffee badger.
Look, I think let's disarm this one and then we badger later.
As long as you do coffee badger.
I mean, I'll do coffee. He can do badger.
Okay.
And then we feed the badger coffee and see what happens.
Yeah, I like this plan.
Okay, cool. Now go get that dynamite.
Oh.
Time to definitely not explode things with one at for
No
once.
boom boom.
All right. So we've already established it's that. Give me a sleight of hand roll.
How does a 27 sound?
A 27 sounds like filled with delight at the prospect of the coffee badger. You skip over to the pressure pad, and with a movement so swift and adept that no one watching you even sees it, they see about as much as Alia does in pitch blackness. You whip up the pressure pad, twirl your thieves' tools, simultaneously snip the cords, and catch the 2 sticks of dynamite that come tumbling out of the wall. Sorry, 2 bundles of dynamite that come tumbling out of the wall. And you've now got another 6 sticks of dynamite, another 2 bundles of 3. I quite like the explosions better.
I mean, this seems like a good idea. What could go wrong?
Fuck it. This is so much time. So you got another 6 sticks in 2 bundles of 3.
How many sticks altogether?
19?
12, 15, 15.
Is that including the
Yes.
homemade one?
Yes, so 19, so 18 in bundles and one
Yeah.
one
One in the pocket.
rescued one in the pocket. Pocket dynamite.
It's a rescue.
Yep.
Free
A little
love
funky,
dynamite.
but we love it.
Needs good home.
So barely has Jake left, then Jake is skipping back, dynamite in hand, to the rest of your group. Didn't even give you time to move or take up a position or do anything other than stand in the entryway of the tunnel, and he's already gone and come back.
This means Badger, right?
God.
Badger.
Polymorph question: does it have to be a willing target?
No.
Didn't think so.
Oh,
That was an above the table question. It just is.
okay.
But I just out of respect,
Yeah, respect.
you ask for
Yeah,
consent.
no, I get it.
To,
It was
does Alia want to be a giant badger?
Does
Nope.
Jake want to be a giant badger?
How can I cuddle the Badger if I am the Badger?
Yeah. Isn't Jake a changeling? He can be a badger anyway. Or is that
Humanoid. I've got to be humanoid.
only not?
yeah.
I can be you if you like. Better than any mirror.
I just don't want to miss another explosion again.
Right, so what are we doing?
All right.
We've collected dynamite, we're moving on.
All right. Now I gotta turn into a badger now because Jake got the dynamite.
Okay, it's coffee badger time.
He's the one again. Hold on. Wherever it is.
So you polymorphed yourself into a giant badger.
Yep.
Excellent.
This
I hand
this
Jake a
seems
flask
like
of never-ending coffee and go, maybe badger one drink.
A very efficient use of
Does you need a
expensive one.
badger boy
Yes.
want to drink? A little drinky winky for a good little badger boy? A little bit of coffee?
have you got your jug equipped? Have you got it? Who's currently got the jug?
I don't know. Do I? Maybe. I was on doling out coffee
I mean,
a few weeks ago, so
Jake
maybe.
Jake essentially does
What does
at the
Jake have?
moment. Well,
Oh, even better.
someone has handed it to him to feed you coffee.
Yes.
You with coffee? A badger boy, you with coffee?
And Phocyonis, like even though like, you retain like an awareness of Phocyonis and who you are, you don't completely disappear into the badger, but your intelligence is now 2. So you can respond in a very simplistic way to the coffee on offer to you that is being poured out by Jake. I'm assuming into his hands or something for you to drink.
Just lick it up.
Be coffee for you, be little boy. Be little coffee, little boy. Be the badger.
God.
You always have tummy sketches too, and little bitty itty bitty pats for the little itty bitty badger boy with the coffee.
Well, this is a giant badger that
Little itty bitty badger boy.
his head is at least in line with Jake's. Like reaching up to get it to drink. Let's just hope badgers aren't allergic to caffeine like dogs are. That's
Ew.
because that they could end the badger form. No, thanks. All right, so now that the Badgeronus is back. Oh, sorry, no, was it Bocchionus or Zachary who turned in? Sorry, I thought Bocchionus
Zach.
turned, but was Zach?
No,
Oh, sorry.
Zach.
So
Yeah.
Zachary's intelligence is. I do apologize. I said Bocchionus. So we've got Jake and the Badger, Badgery.
It sounds like a
Um,
morning drive like breakfast show. Jake and the Badger, welcome you to Thursday.
And look, for flavor, I'm going to say that the Badger keeps Zachary's hat on its head. So it's there with its magician's hat, unless you change the hat to the other one, Zach, in which case it's got a wizard's pointy hat. But the Badger is wearing Zachary's hat
All
and the
right.
tuxedo.
This is a little bitty badger boy with a little tux. You go do the magic tricks as a little badger boy with a coffee.
What would you guys like to do? You've cleared the trap. The dynamite's there. You're basically at a curvature in the tunnel, and you're looking straight ahead. You can see just off in the distance, about 30 feet away, another tunnel coming off to the right that will be underneath Cheese World from your map. Sorry, 40 feet away.
Cheese world.
All right. Okay. Just Zach the badger sort of indicates we should keep moving by
Right, let's keep moving.
after being cuddled for the appropriate amount of time.
Follow that
Yeah.
badger.
All right. Thankfully, this time, despite Zach being the badger who had been picking up on noticing the point of these traps, nothing else is triggered or set off. The lumbering badger and Jake stumbling along trying to feed it coffee as you walk, and the rest of your entourage head up. You get to the tunnel. It's that same sort of rough hewn. It's not as neat as what the Griffin's Rest Inn was. So it's back to that smaller 6 to 8 feet tunnel, rough hewn off to the side. And again, are you heading in or are you bypassing this one?
Hang on, one off to the side where the cheese place is.
Yeah, so
Or
it's off to your right,
Yes.
and according to your map, it will
There's a
be
cross.
it's an X and it's Cheese World.
Right. Well, I guess we should go and investigate, but that means that Cheese World doesn't have a cellar, which surprises me. Or then again, they have the separate venue, don't they?
They did have a warehouse that you cleared of a were rat at one point,
Yes, and a disco ball.
and a disco ball that only 2 of you saw, and one of those people is no longer with us, so that secret resides with Zachary at the moment.
All right. Well, in the spirit of investigating, let's investigate.
All right, and is it that
We're not
same sort
stealthing.
of-
We're just looking, but carefully and quietly as we can, with a drunken raccoon and a caffeinated.
Hey,
badger.
the raccoon is not drunk.
No, despite Alia's best efforts, has not
With a
managed to get
jovial raccoon and a caffeinated badger.
definitely a raccoon that smells just reeks of beer. So
Had a
getting
beer bath. Leave me alone. It's good for the
certainly
fur.
did. It's glossy and resplendent, but you can't see it. But you can taste it when you lick your paws on Zachary's shoulders.
Saving it
So-
for later.
Something for later.
So as you get to the end of the tunnel, you're now familiar with this sort of pattern. Get to the end and looking up, you can see that there's that X on the ceiling, and you can hear like a voice, sort of like how you could hear a muttered voice in the manuscripts, which was it made sense. It was a very distracted voice talking to itself and was wondering about, you know, what to do with the different books and just a kind of seemed to be working through a bit of a process, bit of an eccentric. This time you hear the voice of the cat man who took over Cheese World, and it's just second guessing and doubting himself about where do I put this there and what is this cheese? Well, I don't even know what that animal. Oh, that smells good though, and I know what this is, and we'll put those ones over there. And oh, this ordering system is just a nightmare. And just he's just trying to figure out. You're hearing the sounds of there doesn't appear to be anyone in the shop. You're just hearing him trying to get his head around the role that he seems to have been thrust into. But you do hear. Hang on, sorry, wait, no, I need to see if we do hear this. Where's my D20 there? Yes. So you do hear just a pause as you hear those footsteps coming over a bit closer to where the X is on the floor and whatever he's moving around above you. You just hear this. Did someone spill beer in the shop? Oh, it smells okay. Maybe. Maybe this can wait. It's about lunchtime. And you
Surely
hear
he has
the
an idea.
footsteps
Beer cheese.
going. You hear the footsteps going away, and then the dunk, clunk, 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 as the door opens, shuts, and apparently gets locked. And he has exited the shop. The smell of beer has lured him away to temptation, it would appear. You don't know whether he took cheese with him or not.
Right, so yeah, we can hear him, but there's no visible signs that shop has been entered inappropriately by Knowles.
Big red X on the floor. Pretty consistent with what you've seen so far.
All right, moving on.
All right. So you're trundling back out, heading down. So exiting the Cheese World entrance and walking down the tunnel. Is our marching order still Jake and the Badgery at the front, and then the Fokionis menagerie behind them?
Yep.
All right. So without Zach's sense of the traps, and he's been the one who's been noticing them and pointing them out for Jake to disarm, the rest of you are a bit complacent, and Jake especially is very distracted with the badger, and between them, not sure exactly who steps on it because Jake is getting quite underfoot with the badger, but they set off one of the pressure pads, and between the two of them, one of you feels it go underneath your feet, and with an explosion behind you, I need Fokionis,
What?
Brutus, Alia, and the Drake to all make dexterity saving throws as the walls explode beside you.
Right.
Dexterity saving throw, you say?
Yep, dexterity saving throw.
Cool. 26. Now I have to do the
Garbage
Drake.
rolls.
Yep, so Alia, just sensing this, leaps off Fokionis's back, landing on the badger's back without
Oh.
any harm or issue with the
Do you
nat
want me
20.
to do that roll in Foundry?
I don't
Right,
care
okay,
where
cool,
you do the
cool.
roll, just
Okay,
tell me
cool,
what
cool.
your
I
is.
can't do Brutus though.
All right, sorry. I thought I'd assigned him you, but anyway, sorry, I'll do him.
It's all good.
Right, so he did a 14. What were you, Fokionis?
Yeah, fucking 8.
All right,
That's a
and
nat
the
20
Drake?
by the way. 11.
Yeah. Your nat 20 is why you didn't take any damage at all. Sorry, I missed that. What was the Drake?
11.
11. So, we need to roll some damage. Hang on. These didn't make a whole lot of damage last time, so let's see what we got. 3, 6, 8. 9, 10, 12, 13. All right. So Phocyonis, Brutus, and the Drake take 14 points of bludgeoning damage. And the force of the explosion pushes you guys forward. It takes a little bit of effort, Phocyonis, for you to get yourself and the other two out. You're partially covered in that rubble, but none of you are actually permanently stuck. But you need to take the 14 points of damage. I'll take the 14 points off Brutus,
Yeah.
who's looking very sore.
I don't even know what his hit points are.
19, and he
Okay.
just lost 14 of them.
How
So
much
he's-
damage
Pretty
for
strong.
you?
You think
he's-
it'd be stronger, but okay.
Hurting and limping. He's got reasonable armor with on him, but he's only a CR 1/2 creature.
It's not like he's a badger or anything.
He's not a badger. And if the others do yours, I'll sync yours up as we move along.
What was my damage, sorry?
14. You all
Fucking
failed, so
hell.
you all took 14 points of bludgeoning damage from the rocks that exploded
Okay.
outward.
Alright.
And Jake, you and the badger, you're skipping harmlessly, turning around to see all of this happen, and Brutus especially cop. He was standing right next to one of the stacks of dynamite as they went off, and he copped a fair hammering from the rocks. So he is very badly injured. He's on 5 HP at the moment.
You kick my dog.
Maybe one of us should go like really far ahead so that the rest of us aren't caught in the explosion.
Yeah, you
When
said
they
that, but
said-
all I heard was.
Maybe we should let the little badger boy not be a badger boy, and you could just be a badger boy when we get back to Mort's.
I look at
Because I missed out on dynamite.
Leah and Jake and go, "What the fuck is a badger trying to say?"
And that's exactly what you're hearing, is that Zach is making every effort to force his thoughts into some sort of coherent pattern inside the badger, but he's
God
also
damn it.
distracted by these clothes that are on his arms and this hat that's on his head, and there's now a raccoon on his back, and there's a lot happening for a badger to be processing at the moment, and this strange brown substance that tastes pretty good, that keeps getting thrust in his face. You vaguely remember is called coffee.
Coffee. At what point does he lose concentration?
He didn't take any damage, so he didn't have to make a saving throw for it. But he
Yeah,
is
but he's
cognizant enough
self-harming with
that
coffee and like nonsense. So
he is cognizant enough that like he doesn't completely lose himself in it. So Zach can choose to end that spell, or we have to wait for an hour to pass. And he's only been in it for like a minute and a half. It's only
the
just
cognizant
happened.
badger.
Maybe 2 minutes.
2 minutes and he's already tried to kill us.
It's been a pretty consistent pattern with Zach as a badger.
I mean, yep.
Not gonna lie,
Alright,
I don't mind the badger wizard.
Alright, stop concentrating on it and turn back into Zach. Sorry.
You're now a Zach with an Alia on your shoulders.
Coffee?
No.
Now you have to deal with the beer raccoon.
No.
Yep, you
I
do.
think you made medicine boy.
Your
Is he
punishment for trying to kill us.
But
With that said, though, Zach was already doused in beer from Phocyonis, so he's now getting an extra waft of IPA.
Good.
there's some more dynamite over there. Just
Boomsticks.
Where are you pointing? For Jake to
just
be
down the corridor.
like
Anywhere
further
but
ahead.
there.
Yeah, further ahead. Just past the
Explosives.
neck.
So, looking ahead from what you've just set off, there appears to be one of those little bit neater circular tunnels off to the left-hand side around 30 feet from where you just set off that explosion, that appears to be the potion pantry on your map.
That looks like a Hufflepuff skunk.
Ooh.
So would you
What's-
guys like to
What's Badger
head
for?
that way?
Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Leviosa.
It's Leviosa.
I think you mispronounced Avada Kedavra.
Yes.
So are you heading down to that?
You're going to need a
In-
bigger
in
stress
the
cube.
same-
Stress cube, Zach.
The same pattern as what you've had before? Is that what you guys are
Yeah.
doing? I have one of those fidget. I have two of those fidget cubes.
That's just a little mini Rubik's cube, isn't it?
No, isn't it
Oh, no, it
a
goes flat.
It's
Ooh,
an infinity cube.
cool.
It goes like, it opens and then closes and then opens and
No,
You
no,
really
I
are
don't have one
magical
of those.
Badger, aren't you? Look at you.
Yeah, that's very cool.
opens and
Alright,
closes.
I've gotten distracted by something shiny. So you've headed down to the potion pantry entrance. You've no further issue. Zachary being much more alert and feeling much more comfortable with being able to spot any irregularities that you in your human form. You make it to the potion pantry offshoot without any further issue. Are you guys going in to investigate?
What is that one? Yes, definitely.
All right.
I
So
think anyway.
is that the group heading down same as you did before? So we still got essentially Zach and Jake at the front, Fokionis the menagerie. Alia is on Zach's shoulders, but that's fine because Alia can occupy that space. So heading down that tunnel, unless you tell me otherwise, carefully but not stealthily. You don't set off any traps. What you do find when you get to the end of that tunnel, though, is a rather sturdy wooden door that has quite a large keyhole lock on it.
There's a door.
As a door. Just a simple wooden door with a very, very sturdy wooden door with what appears to be a large keyhole lock. So there's no lock hanging off it. There's a handle and there's a keyhole on it. It's quite
Why would
large
there
and
be a
appears sturdy.
door?
So is it locked? Like, can you try opening it?
You're both at the front, so yep, you can.
Yeah.
Does
Shake
the
on it,
door
it
look as though
definitely
it has
opens
been
up.
recently constructed, may I ask?
Give me investigation or perception, and then I'm going to come back
God,
to.
I'm rubbish at these. Okay.
So you did ask that first, but then we're going back to Zachary, who checked if it was locked.
10.
All right. I mean, it's definitely it's well made, and it doesn't appear to be too scuffed up. With a 10, that's about all you're going to get.
That's the equivalent of like me just kicking it and going, ooh, good door. And
Pretty
then
solid.
that's about it.
Well, it's a 10, so you didn't go, oh, it's a door. It's
What is that,
it's
maple
in
or
pretty good
something?
nick. It's not too scuffed. It's very sturdy.
Hardwood.
So Zachary, you have established while Fokionis is staring intently at the wood grain in the dark with his dark vision. The door is locked. It does not swing open, and you rattle and shake it. It's locked and no budge.
Right.
Do we think that this was put here by the Knolls, or do we think that there was a door
No.
to nothing? It doesn't make
They
sense.
dug a tunnel to.
to
Are
a
we?
door.
Is the tunnel like gone into like a room or something that the door is to, or?
I'm confused. Like,
I'll give you with your passive, Zach, that this reminds you very much of how they had accessed Glimmer's cellar, only this time instead of there being, an exploded entrance and her having a null problem, this is a tunnel that has a door at the end of it, as opposed to a hidden entry like the barrels or a the go in and break shit up like they did at Glimmers. The rest of the construction for the tunnel looks the same as what you've experienced. If you want to dig in a bit more, I will get you to roll for what you're specifically trying to suss out.
Hey. Do you want to try going through, or should we just keep going along the main tunnel?
Well, I don't know. If it was put there by the Knolls, is it booby trapped? Is it like what's their purpose for putting a door there?
Pro-
Don't you say to walk through it?
To open it.
I wasn't going to say nothing. You weren't asking me yet.
I don't know, does Jake want to open it?
I can open doors.
No. That's a bad idea.
Right.
Because
wasn't
Jack's
gonna
gonna open it with
explode
dynamite or
it.
with a
I
fucking spaghetti
wasn't.
sword.
I could. Is that what you want me?
No.
I can open it normally.
Can you open
Would
it
you-
normally?
I can
Would
open it
you-
normally.
Would you like to attempt?
I would like to attempt to open the door.
Not using a flaming sword and not,
Not
using
using
dynamite.
a flaming sword or dynamite.
Okay. Wait, what are you using?
Knives.
Are you-
Okay.
Or hang on, are you using your thieves' tools?
I'm using thieves' tools, yeah.
Okay.
A credit card.
Can
Just gonna.
you? When you said knives, I went, oh, that's not what I was expecting to get you to roll with. Let's do for this one. I'm going to get you to do what has worked for you so far when you've been trying to disarm the traps, and unless you're going to shed some light on the situation while you are currently operating in this way with your dark vision, I'm just going to get you to do it as a straight roll.
Okay. 16.
16. So you inserted the tools. That careful. There's a couple of little moments where it hitches and sticks, and it almost feels like your tool is about to break, but you are able to gently force the tumblers till you hear everything click into place, and the door gives slightly towards where you guys are standing into the tunnel.
It would have been
appears to
quicker with
have
dynamite.
successfully unlocked. Just.
C is open.
Good work.
No dynamite needed yet.
What do we see?
A
Is
door
it
frame.
light or is it
At the
dark?
moment, it's just sort of the door just sort of unhinged a little bit to indicate that it was unlocked. It hasn't been opened yet. It just
Ah.
shows that it's hinged so that it will swing back towards you guys in the tunnel if you would like to open it.
My only job was to
So-
unlock it. If you guys would like to go through, though, that is up to you.
Do we open? Carefully? Can we check for traps?
You can do both of those things. What would you like to do?
Well, I don't want me to check for traps because that would
Do you want me
be
to
ridiculous.
sniff the door? I haven't sniffed something in a while.
I
To
mean,
lick
can
the
you
door.
but can you lick the door?
I can do both.
Hell yeah.
Give me your perception roll. At the moment, you're still operating in pitch darkness, but because you're doing, you're now established lick, I'll let you do a straight roll with it.
So perception first.
Yeah, perception. This will be your licking of the door.
17.
Yeah, look. Initially, sniffing and licking the top of the door and then jumping off Zachary's shoulders to get down a bit closer to the hinges and the lock and the floor around it. With your 17, you can tell that this door has been opened several times. There's not a lot of
Oh.
scuffing, but you can definitely tell that it has been used at least on multiple occasions. Not sure exactly how many, but it's definitely been open and closed. You don't pick up any signs of any of the traps you've encountered or others that may have been in place. There doesn't appear to be anything untoward waiting either on or on the other side of the door. And it tastes quite dry, and it's got some sort of finish on it to keep the moisture out.
Or I'll just go ahead and open the door.
Right. Ooh. Actually, no, there's no creaking. It's very well oiled and well placed so that it just soundlessly comes open. and you guys can see, those of you with dark vision can see inside the room. There's a bench just on the other side of the door with a crate on it and a folded piece of paper. That crate appears to have some potions in it. Not many, but on that table there is a crate, and you can see that there's also some shelves in this room. It's a much smaller cellar than Glimmers. Narrow at its widest point, it's maybe 15 feet across. And the angle you guys are on, you can really only see the bench and a slight bit of the next wall. The way that the tunnel comes in, you would need to go in to see further. But you can see a bench, you can see a crate with some bottles in it, and there's a folded piece of paper on top of that crate.
Do we want to see what's on the piece of paper, or do we want to go further in or not?
I'm curious now. I want to see what the paper says.
Right. Wow. Do we send you?
All right.
Or do we... Whom do we send?
You guys decide who you're doing what, because I need to go and pull some other notes up.
Probably sure. Hang on. Other notes. Hang on.
This way.
You said you're going to go and read the note. I need to go and get some info up.
Oh, okay.
What's on the
Here's
piece of
the-
paper, right? I need to load my...
Here's what I prepared earlier.
Shall we just take the note?
No.
Not read it.
No. I mean, ooh, yeah. Like, we could. And then just wait at a random time when Spar's not expecting and go, I read the note.
You could.
I'm pretty sure that's what Zach wants to do now.
The rate you guys are doing, if you stuck it in your pocket rather than in your storage, it may not survive to be read the way you guys have gone the last couple of sessions.
Look, the way we're going, you will have moved before we read the fucking note.
So who's doing what, guys?
Go read the note.
Zach goes and reads the note.
I like how we send the guy without dark vision in to read the note in the dark.
I
No,
have
Zach's
dark
got dark
vision.
vision.
Oh, okay.
Ali's the only one who doesn't. At the
Yeah, but she
moment,
got drunk
I
vision, so it's
believe.
fine.
But she's not drunk, and she keeps on reminding you.
No, I didn't say she was drunk now. I just said she has drunk vision, so it's fine.
So Zach, you head into the room. You're specifically
yeah.
focused in on, like, your curiosity is piked. So you've just zoned in on
Want
this.
to check
this
the rest of
crate
the room
and
that
the
we
note.
couldn't see? Or...
So opening it up, you can see that there's definitely something written on that note, but it is quite difficult to see with dark vision. Whatever the ink or
You
whatever
can't read
the
with
reason
dark
is,
vision.
it's
not ask
it's not
Jake
visible
to provide light.
for you to read. And
Would I
with the
provide light?
monochrome, you can tell that there's some bottles in that crate, but it's difficult to, like, you can't see the color or tell too much about them.
Yeah. That makes sense. So I cast light on, I don't know, one of my gloves, so I can read.
I get it.
A
And
cast book lamp.
sphere lights up, and so the rest of you see that light up. And Alia, for the first time in quite a while, outside of just explosions rocking and giving you flashes of vision, you, for the first time in quite some time, have been able to actually see what's going on. And all of a sudden Zach just lights up and his hands glowing, and he's like Iron Manning the table to see, even though, you know, it's lighting up a big circle around it. He's still using his hand in a very heroic fashion. So Zach, you're opening up the note. You've opened it up. The words actually, you know, become clearly visible in the light. And in this beautiful cursive script, it reads, "For the Baron," and it is just signed with a very calligraphy-like letter E. The note just simply reads, "For the Baron."
For the Baron.
And have you looked at the crate more
Baron.
closely? Is the other thing I need to know.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that as well.
And then look at the table with the crates on.
So there are 6 bottles, 6 potion bottles in that crate. This is the potion pantry. Like you are aware of where this tunnel headed off to. Not exact. There's a couple of different sizes. There's 4 that are quite consistent with what you guys have found as just like your normal potions of healing, and there's 2 that are a bit larger than that. So in total, there are 6.
Labels?
There's no labels on that. They're red. They don't have anything written on them. They're just red
Any
potion
symbols
bottles
on
with a
them?
letter that said. If you go over, look, I'll give you passively. They just look like glass bottles that are consistent with what you've seen as potions of healing since you
Is
entered
it green
the
glass or
dungeon.
white glass?
Clear.
Clear glass? Is there a
If you-
cork on the top or is it wax seal?
I'm going to make you roll for a check soon, but no, clearly visible. They are corked glass bottles,
Cork.
consistent
Is
with
the
other
cork
ones.
sealed in any other way with like no other? Nope, just sort of in the top.
No, without investigating further, these are just very consistent with
Are they
what
just in the
Maud
box
and
loose, or is there like straw holding them in their spot?
they're sitting in there, and it's a box that is like an old-fashioned milk crate, or modern times more like a wine bottle box, but it's smaller. The bottles themselves are only around 4 to 6 inches for the smaller ones, and then about half that again for the larger ones. They look like the health potions of healing that you have received, and Ivy had quite a few of, and that I believe you still have 1 or 2 left amongst your party that you have used.
Would you say
and
the crate
also
itself is
received.
bespoke made, or is it just like an off the shelf?
I would say if you want to investigate further the origin of that crate, you need to give me an investigation check.
No, that'll be all. It's okay. You said you had notes, so I'll just give you a chance to
You now know what's on the note. What the note read.
Oh, yeah,
I will
that's
give
it.
you while Fokionis is just like intently studying these things, like he's never seen a potion with red fluid in it before. The rest of you, through the light and also your dark vision, you can see that this is just, there's really neat rows of shelves here. Largely, it is empty bottles. There is not a lot of bottles with liquid in them. There is a few. The few that are there that are still on the shelves are mostly red, and then there are 2 that have like a silvery liquid in them. But there is not a lot of actual stock of potions in this room aside from that crate. There's only a few, and there is a lot. There are hundreds of empty glass bottles of various sizes.
And that's it, just shelves and bottles, basically. Like there's no other things to concoct potions in.
If you go a little bit further to answer that question, have a look around. As you go back left and away from the door, so away from the table that you were staring at so intently, there is another door at the end of the storage space. The storage space itself is around 30 feet long and around 20 feet wide. There is another door at the end of that, and next to that door there is a workbench that definitely appears, it's neat, it's clean, but there's definitely some stains and things on there, and some apparatus that looks like vaguely you remember Fokionis from, let's say legally from your high school chemistry days, but more realistically, probably from some of the more questionable people you had dealings with in your day/night job and TV shows you watched. Definitely some chemistry apparatus there that are consistent with what you would assume for most of you what would be used for making potions. And I believe Jake maybe has a bit of bit more knowledge than the rest of you about this. Yeah, so Jake, you definitely recognize that with the kind of basic innate information you got when you picked up that skill coming through the fall, that this definitely looks like a workbench that would be used to
Why do I get the immediate picture of Jake in a very Tyler Durden-esque type character making nitroglycerine in a bath with fucking,
You want to see how good I can make my dynamite go boom?
Oh, we're going to tinker with it. All right.
No. I just said that's what I imagined when you explained that.
Anyway. It's going to be big. It's going to be great.
No.
I have so many to experiment on.
No.
I'm sure the AI can fix any damage I do. Maybe.
I mean, I feel like we're going to find out later, but you know.
I mean, one way to make everyone realize they're an AI is to explosions. Explosions fix everything.
All right, so do we like? I mean, I'm sort of still trying to figure out: is that the door that we have sent Zach through, and we're all sort of peering through? Has that been put there by the Knolls, or in fact, has that been there for some time because it's a clandestine tunnel from the apothecary place to whomever the Baron, or I assume the Baron lives in the castle. You said Baron, did you not?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Baron. So the note says for the Baron.
The note said for the Baron. To answer your other question, I haven't said anything about a Baron living in the castle.
Right, no, just assumptions, you know.
Yeah, I was just answering your question.
More
Yeah,
says
cool, thank you.
no one knows who lives in the castle.
Wow.
You know,
This guy does, doesn't he?
maybe that's
Or
just
maybe
me.
he doesn't.
So
I mean,
Fokionis,
pretty shitty
you had a
inventory
question
system where he
about.
puts a paper note on top, like for the Baron. Like. See, that to me goes, well, that note's there for someone else to collect.
Yeah.
And who's
So-
collecting, if not from the exterior door?
To come back to your question about actually finding out and sussing that out, you can give me either an investigation or a perception, Fokionis, but you are specifically,
Me? Oh, fucking
you are
that's
specifically,
nothing.
well, at least in the initial stage, if anyone else would like to, one other person can help out with this and roll separately if you both want to be looking for the same thing, or you can do an assistance,
Okay.
two of you, and do it with advantage. I don't mind, but
So am I looking to, what am I looking to do?
so you can either do perception or intelligence, but if you give me that you said that you were looking for signs as to whether
Yeah,
the Knolls put
yeah,
it there or
yeah.
or it's
Right, I'm gonna
existed
try and
otherwise.
change this up and roll in Foundry.
I am a +1 to perception.
Oh, cool, 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 cool. Where am I? I am 0 to perception. So normal roll.
I'll help.
So that's an
Alright,
advantage then, or no?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if Ali is assisting, then you do your sussing around to see what you can find.
13.
Look, it takes you a little bit of time, and a couple of times you get almost semi drag Zach over to hold his hand closer to some different parts of the wall and the floor, but from what you've seen so far of the Knolls with your 13, you're pretty confident that you're at least picking up on either some hair, some footprints, like some scuff marks. It definitely looks like Knolls have been in this space, have come through that door.
Right. Right. Have we at any point tried to figure out how long that tunnel system had actually been in place? Like, does it look like it's been there for some time? We've not really tried to figure that out, have we?
It would have taken like weeks or months to dig.
To do, yeah. But I don't wonder, has it been there longer than that, is what I'm trying to figure out in my head now. Like I wasn't before, it's just occurred to me now. Because otherwise, if, there's a door off the tunnel leading through the tunnel, there's a crate with a note saying for someone else, there's evidence that the Knolls have been in there. The door opens out, not in.
Oh yeah, and the tunnel's been here at least as long as the building, probably.
Right, well, how long's the building?
A few weeks, maybe.
What? No,
This whole world was made like a few days ago. Right?
But was it? I mean, it was and it wasn't. But this is the world between worlds, is it not? So hasn't it been here longer?
We could ask more.
We could ask more. Ooh, I like that.
If we could get alcohol.
If you guys with this
No
conversation would like to do
question.
Sorry, that.
No, go.
Yeah,
if you would like, as your character, to do a history check and see if maybe there's something that was passed along in that big dump of stuff you've received through the system, or the conversations you've overheard, or different things that you've been part of. If you want to give me a history roll,
yeah,
we can
I'll
see if there's something
Do
do
there.
a history roll. Yeah,
Do it.
do it. 20. Yeah.
Oh, make good with the history, sir.
So, Zach, you
Don't
recall,
skimp now.
and also you've been able to make some assumptions as, like, all of the cogs have been turning and you've been trying to piece all these things together. The world between and all the different parts of it, you're aware that exists in every single crawl, but its shape and the theme of the crawl is different every time depending on which corporation is in the rotation of running it. So whether it's like a sci-fi or a mystical or fantasy, or whatever genre that they choose that plays into their strengths, that is how the crawl will run. So this world persists in between, and it certainly existed before the fall even happened, because it was mentioned several times by quite a few of the retired / indentured ex-crawlers that they had been in here watching and being enjoying, and also getting the shits with some of the 80s different movies and TV shows and things that the AI seemed to run on loops and be obsessed with as it was constructing different elements, and displaying different bits of information about Earth and its culture and its histories, with a big bent towards the 80s. In terms of how you bring that information into this tunnel, you haven't been given any indication that a tunnel system existed or persisted and it continues to exist between crawls. And it certainly seems that thematically, and the way that this has been constructed, that it has been done through this crawl, but you strongly suspect that there may be some AI assistance / fuckery going on to enable it to have been done so quickly and so thoroughly in comparatively a short period of time since the fall occurred.
Okay.
So you get all of that with your nat 20. In short, I'll give it to you that however they've managed to do it, you're not exactly certain of. You've got suspicions that it is definitely not just off their own back. There's been some assistance given by the system, but that this appears to have been constructed in this medieval fashion for this and during this crawl.
So not altered from a pre-existing tunnel, but in fact just constructed now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
If it was during a previous crawl, it would look different. Because this is a medieval tunnel. Like the
Oh,
crawls
no, I don't
we've been
know
doing.
that that's what that's not what you meant, was it, Spa? Not for the tunnel.
This entire tunnel system appears to have been constructed for this and during this crawl.
Yeah.
And with his nat 20, Zachary's very confident that no matter how industrious they were on their own, the gnolls that you have currently experienced were not capable of this. And you already had some suspicions with some higher rolls earlier that they would have received some assistance with the engineering of this. But that is very much hammered home that it's been done this crawl. And it certainly doesn't appear like something that gnolls have managed to do on their own in the really short time frame since those portals opened up. It's definitely been something that's been done earlier than that, or with assistance.
Right.
As in, it may have been getting constructed when the world between was open, but the fall itself hadn't actually happened.
Right.
Right. It's a bit sus.
While you're processing all of that, does anyone else want to suss anything out, or look at, etc., anything in here? Because at the moment we've established that bit of history, and Zach can choose whether he shares that those insights with everybody. Fokionis, I believe, shared that he found some signs of gnolls in the entryway inside the room.
Yes.
Yeah, I share what Spa said as well. Yeah, I suspect that, like, they may have had AI help to dig this tunnel so quickly.
Right. So then it's purposeful that there's a door and a crate
Yeah.
and a note. So that means we can't necessarily trust everyone whom we speak to above ground.
Well,
Not that
no,
we did anyway, but like,
What if we blew up their shop here?
that
good plan didn't work.
I feel like that eliminates our problems.
Look, I say we just stick a pin in that for now, and we can reconsider that on the way back through.
Or we could stick some dynamite in the wall.
But that really just only stops us from coming back this way.
What about on the way back then?
Yes, on the way back, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okie dokie.
Not a yes, not a no, just a maybe.
I'm gonna focus on the it's not a no part.
It's not a no, but it's not a yes.
So yes.
It's an amber light.
So
And I just
and try and
secretly
get
look at
before
Zach and
attempting.
go, like, we're totally not coming back this way, are we?
Did you say
Hope not.
something?
No, nothing. Coffee?
No, nothing. Nothing.
Coffee.
Look. Yeah, let's go back out to the tunnel. Close the door
Alright,
behind it.
back out of the
Leave
tunnel.
the note where it was. and-
Yes. So okay, cool.
All right, so you've left the crate, you've left the potions, you've left the note,
everything
and
as if it was untouched. And can we make sure we lock the door on our way back out, please?
All right. So who's
we make sure we've got
involved with
everyone with
trying
us?
to kind of stage this? Like back at the pub, you're attempting to leave this and show no signs that you'd been here. So who's going to take the lead on that? And you can have up to one person assisting, unlike poor old Zach who got left to do it all by himself. Oh, you don't have to. No
What
one
kind of check
to
would you
help.
have to do for that?
It will
Is it
be
stealth?
no, for this
No?
one. You haven't really been picked up any sign
Performance.
of being noticed. But if you're staging it to attempt to make it look like you were never here, it'll be a performance.
I got a 0 on performance. What about
Same.
anybody else?
I'm really good at it. You want to trust me with it though?
I have +2, but
I have a
You're the
+4.
yeah. My guy, let's go.
All right,
Go
so
on,
who's
Jake,
doing it,
do it.
and are they
Do it.
assisting? Are they doing it with
It's all
ability?
you, Zach.
So it can have assistance
Nah,
from
let
me.
me do it. Trust me.
Well, you've got to lock the door, so
Okay.
that's a really important job because none of the rest of us can fucking do that.
alright,
So you just shut the door, it locks by
I'll
itself.
roll
No,
performance
it's with a key, isn't it?
with assistance.
All right, let's do
Because I'm
it.
getting helped. Alright,
I would like to assist.
Yeah,
12.
I think Zach already assumed the assistance.
Would you
So
roll? Would you roll?
ushering everybody out and not having to deal with any attempting to get drunk raccoons making angels on the floor this time around. Zach
Angels.
with Jake proving a bit of assistance, including Jake plucking the knoll hair out of Fokionis's grip and kind of trying to latch it back onto the stone that he's pretty sure it came off. You make your way back out. You're pretty confident that things look the way you left it. The note looks like it's pretty much in the same spot. You didn't really move things around too much other than Fokionis, closely investigating those bottles, like they contained the
And the crate.
answer, the question
and the
to the answer
corks,
42.
And the labels. And the glass. And the things protecting the bottles.
Yeah. And as Jake had said to you all, as you exit out and carefully push that door shut, it just gently and quietly latches, almost silently, just as it had silently swung on those huge hinges, and it is closed behind you.
Is it locked?
Yep, it latched and locked shut, just as Jake told you guys it would from when he did the unlocking.
Fine. Good work. All right, moving on. Do we have time to get anywhere else? We do, maybe.
So coming out and Zach still being Zach,
Zach is still
Just
Zach, not Badger.
just
Fine.
ahead of you, Zach, so around 10 feet from the tunnel that you guys have just exited from, you can actually see that double whammy of pressure pad tripwire that you previously had walked into as a badger. So 10 feet away from where you guys are currently standing is the pressure pad, and then 5 feet on from that is the tripwire. So pressure pad
Dynamite.
first, then tripwire after it.
I point these out to Jake.
Dynamite.
Add to your collection, bro.
I would like more dynamite.
All right.
You
Are the
got
rest of you
nothing
staying
dynamite.
where you are
need that
currently? Where
Yeah, we
basically
need
where you are is in the tunnel entrance. Yep.
Stand well
Okay.
back.
Okay. All right, Jake. You know the drill by now. So the first one's a pressure pad.
12.
Or you've with your confidence high after the previous effort, you unfortunately this time around don't quite get the pressure pad right, and we have
Oh,
the tunnel. The dynamite explodes, but only one side really erupts out fully. So there's that single pathway through, but because your teammates stay back, no one is hurt in that. It's just a big explosion behind you, and a bit over half the tunnel collapsed and covered in rubble. But you're okay, and they're okay. It's between the two of you. And 5 feet away is that tripwire with even more dynamite just waiting to be discovered.
But I have another rescue dynamite to obtain.
You can go and you definitely can go and do you do your choice, investigation or perception, as to how you're trying to pick up what residue might be in the less exploded hole.
8 for investigation.
8. Look, you
no.
probing around, unfortunately, all you come up with, you think you get it, and then as you grab a hold of it, the wax paper just disintegrates and the gunpowder, black powder just tumbles off between your fingers. You've got some black powder residue on your fingertips, but that's all you managed to save. You couldn't quite rescue the dynamite out of this one.
That's okay. We can get the other lot from the tripwire.
You can certainly try.
You guys coming through? Gonna come over yet, or? I promise I won't set this one off. Maybe a little bit. It might explode.
Maybe try first. Then we'll
Sticky
come
ball.
I will get that down.
Are you throwing one of your,
Yep.
because you can well and truly do it while Jake is digging around Alia. You absolutely can. So just give me, because you're aiming for a tripwire. So let's just see how, if you actually get it into that vicinity. Give me it's a dexterity, but it will be. I can't believe you're doing this with Jake standing right there. It will be no, not athletics. Acrobatics. So give me an acrobatics roll, please.
Acrobatics.
Oh.
And because you're a halfling,
Oh. That's 12.
you hoik your blob. It flies through the air. Part of it just kind of catches on the tripwire, but it's not one of those more solid lumps that you put together. It's kind of one of the sticky, gooey, not quite as strong and not as much metal or other bits and bobs that strengthen up and harden up the blob. And unfortunately, it's dripping off the wire, but it didn't actually set it off. What it will do, though, is make it harder for you, Jake, where you will be doing your next one with disadvantage because there is a sticky tar-like goop now dripping off a good third of the tripwire, if you decide to try and disarm it.
It's alright, he can do it.
I need the explosives. I need them.
Nothing wrong with sticky explosives.
23. Give me them explosives.
Yeah, 23. And actually using it to your advantage and sliding across that goop to gum up the section that may otherwise have peeled away from where the tripwire was anchored into the wall. You without issue sever it and walk over, remove the sections of the wall, and collect another 6 sticks of dynamite. Fucking hell.
Oh my god. That's 24, 35.
All right.
We're gonna blow up castle.
So the rest of you, the rest of you can walk your way through, if you would like to. Definitely, you see Jake at least get one of those sticks of dynamite. The second set is hidden from your view, but you all see the successful disarming, especially with Zachary still lighting up the area. And it appears like it's a straight shot, Zach, with your looking out for those traps to up and around to the right hand bend where there is another tunnel off to the left to the
Yeah.
Bard's Bazaar.
The Bard's Bazaar.
How bizarre.
Do-do-do, do-do-do.
Huh.
Let's g-
So you guys going in?
Let's go. Why don't we just keep following the main tunnel? Why don't we keep exploring?
I
There's no
mean,
knolls in the
not
side tunnel.
yet, but you know,
You guys have
just we
spent so
don't
much
check
time
one
on
and they
this.
go flank us from behind and it's all over.
And then you have a beer slide, and you know these things they just escalate with you
True,
guys.
true.
Yeah.
Look,
All
I'd
right.
like to point out that it's been 2 weeks and we haven't collected any new party members, so you know, just saying.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm upset about that. So you've actually even managed to sort of semi offload one of them. 2 weeks, but you've had 2 weeks off. So heading in carefully, I imagine, unless you tell me different, the Bard's Bazaar. You get to the end of it, you see the red mark above the floor, that red X. You can hear some music trickling down through the floorboards. It's muted, it's distant, and it sounds like there's something else on top of where the area is marked with an X that is muting that sound more than it possibly would be if, for instance, like that musician or music was playing in Cheese World, where you could hear quite clearly what was coming through from above. It's quite faint and muted,
Jeez, wow.
but there's no traps. And you can hear it's some sort of stringed instrument, but without seeing it, it's difficult to tell without concentrating a bit more carefully on trying to pick out further details.
Okay. But nothing else.
No, nothing else. There seems to be something muting the sound above where the X is marked.
Right.
And without having been in that shop, there's no real way for you to tell what that is.
All right, let's move on.
All right. So you're heading back out. This time when you're looking, Zach, there doesn't appear to be any traps in this section. Strangely,
Odd.
there's double up behind you, but there doesn't seem to be anything laying in wait, which makes you nervous as you come through. The rest of your party doesn't seem too bothered. And your next area that you see shooting off to the right is a tunnel that would be directly under Mishmash Merchants.
Mishmash.
We have to look down that tunnel.
Of course. It would be remiss of us not to.
All right, so you head down again. Tell me if it's different, but you're being quiet, you're being careful, but not stealthy.
No point in being stealthy.
Getting underneath, you can actually hear a conversation. It sounds like where you are is quite close to that front counter of Mishmash Merchants, and you can hear voices. You're not catching everything, but essentially what it sounds like is a whole lot of things being picked up, put down, and versions of the question, what's this and what does it do, from Ward, with Mish answering him. And it sounds like, well, that's a trench shovel. So, you know, if you're caught somewhere and you need to maybe dig a latrine, or little fortification. It's easy to put in your pack or hang on your belt. And oh, okay, no, that's a much bigger shovel. That one you would be looking to dig a much bigger hole, and you'd see it doesn't hook onto you. Oh,
A
that
big bog.
that's a crowbar. Look, that whole thing is things that are used in construction and various things for digging. It's a pick. It's also so you can. He's obviously, he's on a section of the shop where there is a whole range of different things that have quite similar purposes, and you can hear a little bit of exasperation in Misha's voice, but she's never really getting to finish before it appears that something else is being brought up with a question being asked of it. So best you can tell, Mission Ward still seem to be operating the babysitting service. And I know we've just ticked over 12 o'clock. There's just, if you can hang around for like another 2 minutes, that'll put us in a really good spot where we'll finish for tonight.
Right.
So do you guys head back out? Is there anything else you'd like to do? I mean, you got the big X on the roof, just like you had before on the floorboards.
Right, so they haven't broken through because there's no cellar. Right, okay, cool. I guess we move back out.
Should we yell out though? Like, hey, Mish, it's
Okay.
us.
What does this one do?
Are you guys actually doing that?
I feel like we could because Mish actually knows what we're doing, so that wouldn't. Should we? Could we?
Go on,
Will we?
do it.
We could. I don't
I
think.
vote we do it.
I vote I put Zach on my shoulders to get him closer to the floor, so he does it.
Just like knock on the.
Yeah.
And look, it's not that far above your head, so Zach is like he's right up against the floorboards when he's on your shoulders. So Zach, you can essentially do whatever you would like to that floorboard at this point.
Yeah. Just yell out. Hey, Mish, it's me, Zach. Under the floor.
Hi. What? Hi, Zach. Why are you under? Weren't you going to find the gnolls?
Yeah. We're in the tunnel. The Knolls made.
They're under my shop.
They're
Oh,
under everyone's shop.
Wait. Keep talking.
They're under everyone's
And you
shop.
just hear this, tuk, 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 and then dripping through the floorboards, you just see you hear this, and where you're talking, Mish is obviously marking something on the floor, and there's just this white paint starts dripping through the floorboards where you're talking, and you're kind of like wiping it off your face, and she has marked as you're talking. There is quite a fair bit of paint dripping through. She's marked a fair area on your floor. When she's doing, thank you. I'll take care of that from my end.
Okay.
And then he would, what are you doing? Why is Zach underneath the floor? Was that something that, weren't they, are the gnolls down there? They're not fighting. Are they talking to them? And yeah, Ward is back with his 20 questions. And Mish is, despite her initial surprise, very happy with the the assistance.
notification.
All right.
Alright,
Are
yeah,
you guys
let's
heading
go
back out?
Yeah.
So still with Zach on your
Bye,
shoulders,
Mish.
Fokionis, every now and then bumping bye. Let me know if you find anything else in my shop.
Dunk.
And the voice is going. The Zach's every now and then the top hat is bumping on the.
Am I now officially
The
almost
floor.
carrying
No,
everyone?
hop down.
Yeah, well, Alia's down because you can't carry both of them. Not that way because she was on your shoulders. So coming out, Zach, the entryway. Strangely, for a second section in a row, you don't see any more signs of traps, but just up ahead, it's not marked on the map in terms of like what you've gotten from the gnolls, but in the where it would be a gap between all of the buildings. You can see, all of you can see this, including Alia. You can see like a soft glow coming out of a section of the tunnel that narrows a bit more than what it had previously into a narrower section of the tunnel with a kind of a soft bluey green glow coming out of it. That is ahead of you guys about 30 feet as you exit Mishmash and then curve around to the right. You couldn't see it till you came around the corner. You're approximately 20 feet from that narrowing of the tunnel. You can't really see what's in there. You can see that glow emanating softly and sort of filling the tunnel a little bit. And it's sort of striking because a lot of what you've been doing is operating in darkness. And Alia, you've been sort of sniffing and licking and generally just staring around at
Sniffing.
darkness around you
Licking
as other
and
people have
drinking.
made really weird noises and occasionally set off explosives. But now you have a clear vision along with everybody else of that glow that is not marked with, and there's no shops around it. It is a really strange setup from what you've experienced so far in the tunnel, and we will explore that a bit more next week.
Ooh. Tricky.
Ooh.
I
Omnibus.
like it.
You've officially explored every side tunnel and every shop and every marking and
Yeah.
that was on that map.
Completionist.
I did not expect, I'll be honest,
We're
that.
thorough.
I prepped for it, but I did not expect you guys to.
I'm not sure you had enough detail about the crate with the potions in it.
You didn't do a roll
Yeah,
to
what kind of hay was
it
I
wasn't
asked
hay.
that, but you know,
No.
is it
That
straw?
I didn't
Is it
What
say
pea
kind of
straw?
wood was it made of?
Is it loose
well
straw?
that
Why?
was where the invitation was made to
it-
do a roll.
Is it,
And, and now, judging by my rolls today, there is a 0 point in me
Yeah,
doing
you would have just gone like licked it, got a
4,
splinter in your tongue and gone, it's
3,
wood.
2.
Like door.
Mhm.
Before you guys are hung out with us, things are taking a bit of a turn for next week, so I'll see you then. But this will all go up on YouTube within the next couple of days, and all whatever happens after we stop the stream and raid out will be there as well. But let's go say good day to Sputter. Heading there, thanks to Lily, and we'll catch up with you more next week. Let's go say good day and drop Sputter some follows. Bye. Thanks for the hang,
Bye.
everyone. Be good.
Hey.
Just getting my raid button. Oh. God
Yay,
damn
the
it.
raid thing actually worked because I waited for it instead of being an idiot and just stopping the stream like I did with Lily last week.
Why do I have to verify my phone number?
Why isn't your phone number verified?
Um,
I'm using unverified
maybe
phone.
they've put a
I don't know, it never used to be like
verification
that.
mode on.
Fuck me.
Did the raid go through? It looks like
Yep.
you're still streaming.
Yep, I need to stop the stream.
No,
but
I went
I'm
through.
sitting
I went
I'm sitting
through.
in Sputter's chat.
Yeah, same.
But I don't
I didn't
currently
go through. Oh,
Twitch has real weird stuff. Like
go
me last time
manually.
wasn't Twitch's fault, but I have had some really strange stuff when I've done raids properly where some people get left behind, other people don't. Some people come through, some people don't. Others it shows the stream stopped. Especially
Oh,
like
no, I've
where I
had
didn't
enough
stop
now.
streaming.
First I had to
It's just-
verify my account, now I have to follow it, and I'm just like, nah, I can't bother anymore.
Oh, I do hate follower only chat though.
Yep. I gave up at
But
that point.
I will follow because I trust Lily.
Buds. Potato.
Side note, I didn't drop out tonight.
No,
Yeah, it must be
that's-
working.
Yeah.
Your internet was most excellent.
Yeah.
Be even better fucking
fucking-
not next week, the week after.
Oh, I just saw the message scratch on the floorboards and saying a lady's voice, Ward, let me out. I would have, if you wanted to do that,
I
I would have
know.
got you to do a performance check. You may have just broken Ward if you did that.
I'm guessing Zach didn't see that. Like, you didn't see that, did you, Egg, in the chat before you?
It would have had to been a really good performance check because I imagine that you would be trying to imitate his wife.
Yeah, but laughing.
Yeah.
Or try
yeah,
not to
just
laugh.
get Jake to do it. You can turn into.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you could get a some sort of visual other than his description of what she looked like. Oh, poor Ward. I think that would have been very.
I'm going to bed
interesting.
now.
No
Yeah,
worries.
good night.
So,
I have to be up at
Sleep
5:30.
bye.